Hello and welcome. Today, we're diving into the really fascinating and honestly super important world of AI ethics. But we're not just here to talk about technology. We're here to give you the advanced English vocabulary you need so you can feel confident joining this critical global conversation. You ready? Let's get started. So just think about this for a second. If a self-driving car causes a crash, who's on the hook? Is it the owner? Just sitting there? Is it the company that built the car? Or maybe the programmer who wrote the actual code? This isn't science fiction anymore, It's a very real problem we're facing right now. To even begin to untangle these complex questions, you need the right words. And that's exactly why we're here today. By the time we're done, you're going to have the key terms you need to really understand and talk about the ethics of artificial intelligence. Okay, so we're going to kick things off with one of the biggest challenges in AI today, and that is the problem of bias. This is really where a lot of the thorniest ethical issues get their start. First up is that word from our opening question, autonomous. This just describes any system that can work on its own, making its own decisions without a person directly controlling it. So, for example, the big goal is to develop fully autonomous vehicles that can get around a city all by themselves. Now, right at the very heart of this whole discussion is the word ethical. This is all about morality, our ideas about what's right and what's wrong. So when we ask if it's ethical to let a machine make a life or death call, we're really asking a deep, profound moral question. And that brings us to the most important word for this section, bias. Now, in AI, bias doesn't mean the machine has, personal prejudices. It means the system has learned unfair preferences from the data it was fed. So, for instance, if you train a hiring AI on decades of old records where men were hired more often, guess what? The AI will learn to show a bias against women. It's just reflecting the unfairness that we taught it. And what's really eye-opening and frankly pretty troubling is that this isn't just a theory. Look at these real-world examples. Amazon had to ditch a hiring tool because it learned to prefer men. Major facial recognition systems are less accurate for women with darker skin. These examples show so clearly how a system with zero bad intentions can still produce incredibly biased and harmful results. So, if these biased systems can cause real harm, who's responsible when they mess up? Who answers for it? Well, that leads us right into our next section, the really complex question of accountability. This awful event back in 2018 wasn't some hypothetical classroom problem. It was a real-life tragedy. And it forced the whole world to grapple with that question we started with. When an autonomous machine is involved in someone's death, who is ultimately responsible? This brings us to a key word, accountability. It's more than just pointing a finger and finding someone to blame. Accountability is about being obligated to take responsibility for what happened and to explain why it happened. It's about answering for the outcome. Now let's compare that to a similar but different word, liability. While accountability is more of a moral concept, liability is all about the law and money. It's about who pays for the damages, who faces the legal music. A court is what determines liability. And this table here just shows perfectly why this is all so tricky. The owner, the manufacturer, the programmer, even the government, you could argue they all share some of the blame. There's just no simple answer, which makes figuring out legal liability incredibly complicated. So if we can't easily figure out who's accountable, maybe it's because we don't even understand how the AI made its decision. And that brings us right to our third section, the need for transparency. Our next key vocabulary word is transparency. When we're talking about AI, this means we need to be able to look inside the system and actually understand its logic. Without that kind of clarity, it's pretty much impossible to trust an AI's decision or figure out what went wrong. And the opposite of transparent is opaque. You're going to hear this word a lot. Many of the most powerful AI systems are called black boxes because how they work on the inside is totally opaque. We can't see in to understand why they're doing what they're doing. This slide really lays out the whole black box problem perfectly. With an opaque system, you put data in, a decision comes out, but that whole middle part, it's a total mystery. With a transparent system, you can follow the steps. So here's the bottom line. Transparency is absolutely essential if we want to find bias and ensure accountability. So where is all this headed? In our final section, let's look at the vocabulary we need to discuss how we actually manage these powerful technologies as we move deeper into a more automated future. Well, one of the main tools we have for managing new technology is regulation. These are just the official rules and laws that set the boundaries. A great example is the European Union's AI Act, which is a huge new regulation designed to deal with the exact risks we've been talking about. And people really want this kind of oversight. It's not even close. According to one study, a massive 82% of Americans believe that AI should be managed carefully. So people aren't just accepting this technology without questions. They want some guardrails put up. Another massive concern for our future is misinformation. And with AI, this problem has taken on a pretty terrifying new life with deepfakes. Those super realistic but completely fake videos and audio clips. These things can be used to spread false information like wildfire. So what's the end goal in all of this? I think it can be summed up with this final, crucial vocabulary word, alignment. This is the big one. It's all about making sure that what the AI is trying to do is in sync with or aligned with our human values and our ethics. That is the absolute key to making AI that actually helps us. All right, let's pull this all together. If we want to build AI that we can actually trust, we need to focus on these three things, and they're tied directly to the words we just learned. We have to actively uncover bias, we have to create clear systems for accountability, and we absolutely must demand transparency. We started with a simple question about a car crash, but this conversation is so much bigger than that. It's about fairness, it's about responsibility, it's about the kind of world we want to create. So now that you have the vocabulary, the real question is, what are you going to do with it? How will you use these words to be part of shaping our shared future?